before 1980s, even in the early 80s, pretty much all estimating was done off of paper plans with calculators, green sheets, scales, notes written in the title block, stuff like that. And it worked. But there were definitely some ways that this process could be improved, and people saw that. And in the 80s and 90s, things like spreadsheets came about. This is one of the early ones. The first one I worked on was actually something called Twin, but there was Lotus Notes and Fox Pro and things like that. And they were good. It was good for doing some simple math and adding up numbers and tabulating them, still keeping them the way you want to see them. But even after that, they developed a little bit more, and then you got Microsoft Excel, which actually got you some nicer looking reports. You could actually print things in a way that everybody liked to see. And it gave you a lot of consistency across how your estimates were done, as long as nobody made changes to your Excel. So everybody was happy about getting some consistency and easier ways to read things without having to read everybody's handwriting on every estimate. And then after that, things got a little bit more technological, I guess is a good way to put it. There were digitizers. I used to actually work in an office that had 20 or so of those big tables with the monitors sitting right there. And eventually, a little bit later in the 2000s, came some better estimating software, database-driven software like Sage Estimating, or as it used to be called, Timberline, the precision estimating product. So that came out, and there were actually ways to link the two. So you could do your takeoff and have that takeoff end up in your estimate without having to do some of the manual data entry. And while it sounded great, there were still some issues with that. The integration between the two wasn't the best, but it was better than what was there previously. So in recent history, a lot of other products and workflows have come onto the marketplace that have to do with estimating. There's BIM, there's digital quantity takeoff now, where you don't need those big boards or even the roll-up digitizer sheets like there were for a while. Everything can be done on your screen. It all links with accounting and your project management. You can do high-end data analytics with things like Power BI if you want to. And then there's BIM, which kind of wraps all of that stuff into one big, under one big umbrella, and gives you, doing finger quotes, a smart design and a smart building. And then on top of that, right in the middle, all of this can all be done on the cloud. So you can have employees working anywhere on these types of workflows, and they'd still be working together. So you can have people working in the field, people working from home. You could actually hire people from other parts of the country to do some of the work for you if you want, or from another country if that works for your business model. Kind of some history on construction statistics here. The global population is expected to reach 9 billion by 2050. And most of those, 2 out of those 3 of those people will be living in cities. But probably the biggest one on this slide is really that by 2025, which is only 5 years away, the construction industry is expected to grow about 70% to $15 trillion. That is a big jump in construction. And you'll see that having that much construction, you need technology to be able to keep up with that. The old status quo of it's always worked this way, so that's the way we're going to keep doing it, isn't really going to work forever. Also, 75% of the infrastructure that exists will exist in 2050 doesn't exist today. So these are big construction projects. There's a lot expected to happen in our economy, current events notwithstanding. Hopefully everything still goes the way it's supposed to. But again, having technology in place before this happens will help construction in general rebound and be able to handle the additional capacity. So